Hey everybody, welcome to the KetoMom page. My name is Stephanie and we are diving into Chazown. But before we talk about the next chapter, I want you to understand what we're doing. So as you're tuning in, I would love to know, what's a good question? Started off so strong. Well, you can always say where you're tuning in from. You know what I would actually love to know? I would actually love to know, as you're tuning in, what do you do? Actually, I was going to ask for your career. Why don't you tell me one thing you're passionate about? I would love to know one thing you're passionate about. I am passionate about homeschooling. I am passionate about helping people in their marriages. I am passionate about just the topic of parenting and keto, but actually above ketones and above keto and above low carb, I love talking about parenting and marriage and homeschool. All of it. Love it. What are you passionate about? I love it. Early childhood education. I love that. Your kids. Yes. You know what I love? I love helping families understand that parents can help their children be healthy and understand mindset as a young child so that when they grow up, they don't have to start where you're starting. I love it. So yes, what are you passionate about? So if you don't know, we go through a book every day. If you're brand new, there's all keto things, everything keto here on the page for the last 7 years. Or you can go to ketomomsecrets.com. But we go through a book in the morning because I truly believe it's powerful to work on your mindset, to understand things like past experiences, to understand how to handle your emotions, to understand why you might be where you're at today. It could be because of emotions or environment. It could be because of past hurts. It could be just because of unawareness, right? And as soon as you have the awareness that your mindset is important, your words are important, the way you see yourself is important, all of that plays a part in even simple things as the food you choose. So if you hear my daughter, she's upstairs on the treadmill. We have 4 girls. We homeschool. I should say I'm blessed with 4 girls. Man, you guys, they are so fun. They are fun. I love being with them every moment. I work from home. We homeschool. We go to CrossFit together. My kids have friends outside of me. Don't be worried. It's fine. And I realize someday they're growing. I know they're growing up. And I know I'm not going to be the most important thing. It's fine. All right. So tell me what you are passionate about. Share below. You can share where you're tuning in from too. One thing you're passionate about. So we've been going through this book. The book is called Chazown. The book is meant to help you think of and discover what you're truly called to do. So the title is Chazown, Discovering and Pursuing God's Purpose for Your Life. So we've gone through quite a bit of it. We've talked about our core values. We've talked about spiritual gifts. He says there's 3 different main circles that you have to talk about. Oh, where am I at? Right here. That you have to talk about to figure out what you're truly called to do. What are you truly gifted at doing? Where are you not using your gifts? Oftentimes people think, man, if I were to just lose 50 pounds, that would make me happy. If I were to just get healthy, that would make me happy. And it's actually not true. It will help you feel more confident, but you really should, there's gifts and talents that you have that you need to gift to the world, right? And so we've done books like Atomic Habits. It's an incredible book. You should read it. We've done books like The Miracle Morning, Understanding If You Own Your Day, Owning Your Morning, Own Your Day. We've done a lot of tactical habits, systems books. They're all great. Once this book is done, we're going to go back to a tactical book. I feel like we should ping pong. We'll do more of a tactical book than more of a overall life book, and we'll go back and forth. So today, we are talking about the circle called past experiences. Good morning, Jess. So mindset, past experiences, right? So he talks about if you understand your core values, if you work on your spiritual gifts, and if you have an awareness of your past experiences and what you've gone through, it will help propel you to understand and use the gifts and talents God has given you. And so he says this one's a little bit harder, right? Talking about your past, talking about things that have happened to you, good and bad. He says the third promising area to explore to discover your Chazown, what you are called to do, is your past experiences. Your past often holds the key to unlock your future. He shares a ton of stories, but he basically says this past experience might be really hard because you might have some really hard things that you've walked through. He says, think about the bad experiences. You're going to think about the positive experiences. What might your past have prepared you to do that you couldn't or wouldn't have otherwise? He says you can think about the negative experiences that have shaped you and how it shapes the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act. So he says things like, it might be a miscarriage or a marriage that has fallen apart or a child that has walked away or bankruptcy. There's so many things he says that diving into your past, while it hurts, you need to understand where you've come from so you can understand what you've grown through, the core values you have created so that you can help somebody else along the way. We are working on what you are called to do, your Chazown, who you are, what you were created to be on this earth for, right? And so I'll give an example. Jess is on here. Jess has gone through some horrendous things in her past, like a horrendous experience. And I'm not going to share her story, but what she has gone through, oftentimes, so we're talking, God is in this book, right? Chazown, what has God created you to be? And I'm going to tell you something, and you might not agree, but oftentimes people will blame God for their past. Oftentimes people will blame God for the things they've gone through. Therefore, they don't have a relationship with him. Therefore, they are just struggling for the rest of their life because let's be real. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, you are chasing everything in this world that will not bring peace and joy. Now, oftentimes because of a past hurt, whether it was a loss of a child, whether it was even just getting fired from a job, right? Maybe a loss of a friendship, like I said, bankruptcy, anything that's happened in your past, I need you to know something. And he talks about this. The Bible and God says that he knows everything that you're going to go through. He knows everything from the end to the beginning. If you understand the Bible, I have it right here. I read, this is a whole different topic, like how to read this, how to work through it, how to understand it. You want to know a really quick tip? Go to Proverbs every single morning and read a Proverbs a day. It's the book of wisdom. So today is the 4th. Today is, if you're watching live, it's May 4th. Go to Proverbs 4 and read it. Here's what I need you to understand as you're walking through your past, all right? I believe, hands down, 100%, the Bible says that God is the author of every perfect gift. Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So all of the things that you've gone in your past, if you blame them on God and you say he did it, I need you to have this new awareness. He didn't. It was allowed, and we live in a fallen world. Now listen, if you have never understood any of this, like if you've never gone to church, if you did not grow up even having faith, I would love to have a personal conversation with you in general. But the things that happened to Jess didn't happen to Jess because God was sitting up there pointing his finger at her and saying, I'm going to make this happen to your life. We live in a broken world. Clearly, you can see that if you watch the news, right? And we have an enemy that you cannot see, and sometimes you can. And so, but what he promises is he will take every hurt that you've had in the past and he will use it for good. All right? He will use it. So, what happened to Jess, who is on here, who I have gotten to know for years, she has walked through things for years that nobody would ever want to walk through. And so, for example, what she walked through, and he's talking about this, he's like, listen, I want you to go through your past experiences and write down things that you've gone through so that you are prepared as you go into the calling that God has on your life, so that you can walk other people through the losses, right? So that you can understand where you came from and you can walk people through that in their life. I know you didn't want to go through that. It wasn't something that he would want that. He's not the author of anything bad. God is all-knowing and all good. But he will take what you have gone through and he will walk you through life. He will say, hey, guess what, Jess? This person has gone through this and you've already done it. So now why don't you help walk them through it? You share your experiences. You share what has helped you. Your callings, your gift, your values, the things that are your spiritual gifts are going to come from your past hurts, the things that you are called to help other people to. And listen, it is probably too painful. And this is where, like, I clearly am not a social worker. I'm not a therapist, but starting to open up to understand, like, if you truly want to know what you're called to do in life, it is just a part of it. You're going to have to walk through it. You're going to have an awareness of maybe not why it happened, but understanding what happened to be able to walk through. Because oftentimes, guess what? This book, Jess, I'm going to mail you the book. Don't get it. I'm going to mail you the book. So let me get on my Amazon cart and I'll send it to you. Here's what I need you to understand. And this is really, oftentimes people are overweight. Oftentimes people eat. Oftentimes people don't take care of you. You might not take care of you. And it has to do with your past, right? You eat out of emotions. You eat because you're sad. You eat because you're angry. You eat because you're frustrated. You don't take care of your health because you're holding on to anger, bitterness, frustration. You're holding on to the past. When if you just understood that while that what should have never happened, I want you to eventually, if your goal is to get further, if your goal is to understand what you were truly called in life, if your goal is to break the chains, if your goal is to be done with these feelings, you're going to have an awareness and an understanding of, okay, that happened. What did I learn from it? What can I help other people, if I ever come up with other people, walk through it? The reason you are where you are today is most likely because of something that happened to you. And it's causing a trigger, and it's causing an emotion, and it's causing an action. Does this make sense? Like, if you don't actually have an awareness of it, you're not going to have the breakthrough to get past it, to be able to stop some of the habits you're doing today. And it is not just the bad experiences. Like, all of the good things that have happened to you in life, the positive things, the things that you are gifted at, the things that you have been blessed to walk through, you can help other people as well. So he says, what if I told you that you have a bowl of keys sitting on a shelf in your heart? Not keys to start a car or to open a padlock, but keys that open up windows of understanding to God's Chazown for your life. These keys are your past experiences, both good and bad. In order to mine meanings from your past, you need to examine experiences from both extremes. Buckle up your seatbelt. We're going through the good and the bad. And even just on this keto page, I need you to understand something. You probably are where you are today, if I'm just talking about your health, because of regrets, because of experiences, because of frustrations, which is causing you to eat your emotions, which is causing you to feel the way you feel today, right? People eat out of emotion. What painful experiences might God want to use in your life? So basically he says this, just start journaling. Make a list of some things that could be negative, could be positive experiences that God could use for you to help other people. He says, ask God to give you eyes to see value in your experiences, meanings and purpose that have never been there before. And God can help you see what you've never seen out of those, the lessons you've learned, the things that you could help walk other people through. There's really so many things I want to talk about, but honestly, here's all I'm going to say for today. It's going to give you awareness. Here's the questions he says to ask yourself. What do your good and bad experiences have in common? Look back over the experiences you've written down. Do you see a common thread? Number 2, what do you think your experiences have done within you to prepare you for the future? And number 3, regarding the next chapter, he says, what possible title comes to mind when you think about the path ahead of you? Like, what are you called to do? What are the things you're called to share? Who are you called to be? My daughter's doing a podcast, and it's called Who Is She Becoming? It's so fun. It's so fun. Hey, Amy. Is it Amy? Hey, Amy, send me your address. I'll send you the book. I need Jess's address and Amy's address. So my daughter's doing a podcast. It's called Who Is She Becoming? It's basically a teenager. She's 14, asking me, her mother, about things that I've learned along the way. And we have conversations back and forth of how to work through life, right? If you have somebody that he talks about having mentors, right? He talks about finding people that have already done the things that you want to do and asking them questions. You can go further faster as you work through your own stuff in your life, as you ask people questions, as you actually have an awareness that I actually have a call on my life. I actually have gifts and talents that I could bless other people with, right? And so here's the deal. This book is great. Is it going to help you with the food choices you make every day? It will help you if you understand that your past most likely is a result of the choices you're making today, right? He talks about like understanding your values and your spiritual gifts and listening and understanding that your weight, did you know that the scale doesn't define you? Did you know that? The scale doesn't define you at all. Your weight doesn't define you. I know it affects you. I know it affects your confidence and how you feel, and I'll help you with all of that. But you have a bigger calling on your life than stepping on that scale every single day. So, just like Lynn said, scales are for fish. Continue to tune into the page. If you have questions, send me a message and I would love to reach out and help you. If it's a recipe and you're looking for all things keto, scroll through the page for the last 7 years. Go to ketomomsecrets.com for any recipe that you are needing. Send me a message and I will help answer your questions. So that is the book we're going through. Continue to tune in. Tomorrow we'll talk, and my husband will be back tomorrow because he comes home tonight. We're going to talk about the dream indeed. We're going to talk about dreams. So, and we're really going to talk about what is your actual Chazown. So I hope you guys have an incredible day. I truly appreciate you. Have a good morning. If you want to, earlier in the live, I said share something that you're passionate about. So share something that you're passionate about below. I said I'm passionate about my children, homeschooling, marriage, helping parents with their children. I'm so passionate about parenting. So, all right. Have an incredible morning, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye, everybody.